What an exciting day, and it only gets better. So thank you all for joining us. I have the distinct honor and pleasure to be interviewing Mr. Ranadivé, owner of the Sacramento Kings. But you have a very long, storied career in technology. I would love for you to share your journey even before technology of how you arrived to where you are. And thank you again for joining us.
Well, thanks, Aarti, and thank you for having me. Thanks for hosting this amazing event. Congratulations! Looks like an awesome event. Yeah. So when you get to be an old guy, you kind of can look at your life and say, was there a defining moment for you? And so for me, it happened when I was a little boy in Bombay, and I had my ear plastered to a little transistor radio. And I heard these magical words, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And of course, I was listening to the Voice of America broadcast, the moon landing live all the way to Bombay. And I was just blown away. I said, wow, who are these people that were able to take a man, put him in a box, and send him all the way to the moon, 250,000 miles away, land on a rock, flawlessly the very first time. How incredible, how brave, how brilliant, how imaginative. And I said, you know what, I want to be one of them. And so I studied science and technology, and I said, I'm going to get to America somehow. So then a few years later, I applied to MIT, and they must have made a mistake in the admissions process because they let me in. So I showed up on the shores of Boston with like $50 in my pocket, but big dreams in my head. So that was kind of the start of my journey. And what's incredible about that story, and I know we just circled the moon again, but at that point, the entire NASA program had less computing capacity than we all have in our pockets today. And so it was truly an incredible feat. So basically, I kind of studied science and technology. I'm unemployable, so I had to start my own companies. Started some companies, and along the way, I fell in love with basketball. As a single dad, I was trying to spend more time with my little girl, Anjali. She was 12 at the time, and I foolishly volunteered to coach her basketball team. Now, understand that I grew up in Bombay playing cricket on the beach, playing soccer on the beach, and I'd never actually touched a basketball. But again, the guy took pity on me and said, okay, you want to be close to your daughter, I'll let you be the coach. So I show up at this gigantic gym near my house, and there's all these courts and all these dads coaching the other teams. And these were like Stanford, Duke, Division I dads, 7 feet tall, super athletic. And then there's like this nerd, standing in front of the girls. I didn't know what a draft was. And so they had given me all the girls that no one else wanted. And so I'm standing in front of these girls, and I'm thinking, I did this to get close to Anjali, but I'm going to make a fool of myself.
Right.
So anyways, I didn't want to look like I didn't know what I was doing. So I looked at the girls, I held the ball, and I said, girls, today we're going to run. And I just made them run up and down the gym for an hour, just relays and just run. Then I said, you know what, I can't just keep making them run. I got to figure this game out. So I'm kind of a math nerd, so I went and studied the game, and I came up with a math equation for the game. And Malcolm Gladwell's written a book about this called David and Goliath. But next practice, I taught them the equation. It was simple enough that they got it, and they bought into it, ended up winning every single game, taking the team to the national championship, and fell in love with the game. So that was the start of my love affair with basketball, and I love sports in general. And then a few years later, my friend and neighbor was buying the Golden State Warriors, and he asked me to join him. So he was the chairman, I was the vice chairman. I think we paid like 450 million for the team at the time, and that was like a record price. And then a few years later, the commissioner called me up and said, hey, there's this guy, Steve Ballmer, who I know you know. So he's buying the Kings from Sacramento. He's going to move them to Seattle. And, I really want to keep them in Sacramento. So why don't you jump in? And my initial reaction was, why? I live in the Bay Area. I love the Warriors. But then I thought I came to California without a penny. So everything I have, I owe to the city. And I jumped in and bought the team, succeeded. And then part of it was I had to give a personal guarantee that I would build an arena downtown. So that was kind of how I came to own the Kings. Long story, but...
I mean, an incredible story. I think that I'm curious what Sacramento was like when you chose to buy the team then, because we all know what an extraordinary job you've done to it now. But like, how did you get to where the team is now? Like, what was the city like? What was the infrastructure at the time?
Yeah, so hadn't even been to Sacramento before that. And it's I fly there from my house. It's about a 20-minute flight. And part of what the league made me do is there was like an old arena about 20 minutes outside of town. And they said to me that I would have to give a personal guarantee that I would build a new arena, and it would have to be in downtown Sacramento. And understand that I'd never actually built anything, and I'd never been to downtown Sacramento. And I'd never even seen what I was buying. And downtown Sacramento at that time, the place where they wanted me to have it was basically a shopping mall that was just full of homeless people. It was actually dangerous, and there was nobody there. And it was crumbling. And when I finally got the team, I went to the old arena, and they gave me the key, and they said, this is yours now. So I walked in just to check it out, and then a part of the roof almost fell on my head. So that's kind of how I started. But I had made a commitment that I would invest in Sacramento. I didn't even own any land downtown, so I had to figure out how to buy the land, build the arena.
So when you decided to build the arena, now you're committed, you're vested. I'm sure the mindset was that you were going to build a future-ready arena. Like, you're a technologist, you clearly love challenges. Tell us what your vision was at that time for the stadium, for the arena.
Yeah, so I had stood there when we were competing to win the deal for the team, and I had said that Sacramento would never have to play second fiddle to any other city, and it would be a world-class city. Now, one of the things is the state really helped me, because I was able to take the personal guarantee I signed, and I took it to the then governor and the state legislature, and they passed a law back then just for me. It was called SB 734, Senate Bill 734. And I had no knowledge of how to navigate the political waters at the time, so this was all new for me. And basically, it's very difficult to build anything in the state. And so what this law did is I would never have to put the shovels down. I could keep building. And there'd be challenges and environmental challenges and CEQA and EIR, and I would never have to do that. So then I had to secure the land, and I had to buy the downtown land. And my goal was that I wanted to build an iconic structure. Right. And so, kind of the goal from day one is it has to be iconic. It has to be the most fan-friendly experience there is. Obviously, technology, I'm a technology guy, so it has to be the most advanced arena in the country. And it had to be socially responsible, which meant just using materials, having the food come from a network of local farms, And so all of those factors were important.
So I've obviously driving economic
Can I ask you
development.
something? Is that the time jumped from 18 minutes to 6 minutes? Is that right?
Did it? I didn't see it.
Okay.
Did you see it? We didn't see it.
So
We didn't
how
see
much time do
anything.
we have so I know?
I would say about 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. We didn't see
Maybe he's just
anything.
cutting me short. It's like,
We
okay,
didn't
this
see
guy's talking
anything
too much.
on the clock. No.
So-
But what I was going to say was that it's so important to involve the local economy. But you also decided that this is going to be, the city was City 2.0, and you were going to make it City 3.0 and build a cognitive city. And obviously, we're at a conference about cities of tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about the cognitive city.
Yeah, so this is kind of my broader thesis that we're entering a new era. I call it Civilization 3.0. 1.0 was the start of civilization. It was driven by the agrarian revolution, and people were farmers, shopkeepers, carpenters, age of the artisan, land was the raw material. Then with the industrial revolution, it was kind of Civilization 2.0, where energy and steel were the raw materials, and it became the age of the corporation. And now we're entering an era where the world's largest bookseller has no bookstores, and the world's largest taxi company has no cars, and really the raw materials are data, imagination. It's kind of assets in the ground to assets in the sky. So similarly, cities have to evolve. City 1.0 was, cities were kind of a gathering spot. And then 2.0, people started moving into the suburbs, and cities became a place to work. And so really, we have to rethink what a city is. And to me, a city 3.0 is really a place to work, to live, to enjoy culture, to learn. And so if 1.0 was about sea access and ports and cities like London, and then 2.0 was airport access, highway access, then with 3.0 it's really opportunity, culture. It's just, there's probably like 10,000 people in this world that can define the future. And the cities, the mega cities, are competing for that talent. Yeah. So you have to build City 3.0. And in my mind, you don't build, like in the old days, you would gather around a communal fireplace, and then it was the great cathedrals and the town squares you see in Europe. We're not building cathedrals, but the arena was kind of the cathedral of the 21st century. That was the gathering spot. And then everything that you built around it became that city. And to me, a cognitive city is a city that's constantly on the hunt for how to serve and engage its constituents. So it's a smart city, it's a safe city, it's a frictionless city. And these are all things we've actually done in our arena, we've done in our neighboring area. And I think that there's going to be a competition for the best talent in the world. And so everybody has to be thinking along these terms.
Tell the audience a little bit about the beam. I want them all to understand how that's taken over the league.
Yeah, so when I built the arena, I used to be friends with Steve, and when he wanted ideas, he would go to a guy called David Kelly. And I thought, if Steve Jobs can go to David Kelly, then I can go to David Kelly. And so he's got a company in Palo Alto called IDEO. And when we went to visit him, I took the whole design team there. And he said, if you ever travel on Virgin Air, then the first thing you see are the purple lights. And then you immediately say, wow, this is cool. It's going to be a great experience. It's unique. And so he said, look, you've got to figure out what your purple lights are. Now, in our case, and our arena was again ranked the #1 arena in the country, but kind of the defining feature became we had an indoor-outdoor arena where the doors open up and you can play the games with the doors open, so it's indoors and outdoors. But the concept of the purple light stuck in my head, and I kept thinking that wouldn't it be cool if I had like purple LEDs on the roof? And my arena runs completely off the sun, so it's completely off the grid. But wouldn't it be cool if I had lights on top? And so when I'm flying from San Francisco to New York, I can just look out the window and say, oh, the Kings are in the house. But finally, we were just trying to figure it out, and we came up with this idea why not have a purple laser that shoots into the sky? And this became kind of a phenomenon globally, and we call it the beam. And it's become kind of a beacon of hope for everybody. And we light it, it shoots into the sky, and you can see it from far away.
I mean, it signifies that cathedral, that meeting place.
Yeah. In fact, Google said we were a place of worship after that. So, Google Maps. Yeah.
And I want to just touch. I mean, we can't have a conversation without touching on AI. I know that you have a company, Lava.ai, that teams all over the world are now using. Tell us a little bit about how you're at the forefront of that.
Yeah. So I was one of the architects of predictive AI, and when I started building the arena, I just wanted to provide an experience like no other to everyone. But there was nothing out there, so I had to incubate a company myself. And so we literally pick up every single human touch point. So we built adapters into everything, parking meters, I have half a dozen different point of sale systems, Ticketmaster, all the applications. And so people opt in because they get something in return. And then it keeps answering the question, who wants what, when, for how much, and is it worth it for them and for the business? And so we're able to, so if you come to my arena, there's no friction, there's no traffic. I literally have a mission control that eliminates all the traffic. I have turnstiles that are faster than anything else. You just walk in. Because otherwise it's a lot of work, to compete with a high definition TV and a remote control. That's amazing. You can sit on a comfortable couch and watch. That's the competition. So I had to allow you to get in touch with your friends, get rid of traffic, find a parking spot, walk in there without any friction, find your seat, get food, get merchandise. And the goal was to just eliminate all of that friction. So we use AI to do that.
And I mean, you said you do predictive analytics. I mean, people want you to know who they are. If you have the data, they want to show up and say, okay, that this is where I like to park, this is what I like to eat. Like, that's really important.
Yeah, and we can even, like, if you tweet, my pizza's cold, even before you have a chance to become unhappy, it's the fourth quarter, we know you're there with your kids like hot dogs, you've got too many hot dogs, the hot dogs will go to waste. And so just come and give you some hot dogs before you become unhappy. And so with that, even in little Sacramento, even though the team has had a tough year, we're still number one in per caps, meaning our fans are spending more than New York, LA, Boston, Miami. We're still the NBA Team of the Year. We're number one in engagement. We're one of the top 4 concert venues in the world. And so it's all driven by real-time AI.
Well, Mr. Ranadivé, thank you so much for your time. And more importantly, we all know that sports is such a driver for modernizing our communities, and we all have been to stadiums that do it really well inside but not outside, and you have built the 21st century cathedral, and we really appreciate that. And everyone, go visit Sacramento and cheer for the Kings.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.